Hello, I'm Jenny Nemco, one of the trustees of Oasis of Peace UK, and I'm here today with Raida and Carmella. Today the Middle East is in a great deal of turmoil, stabbing in the streets, mob violence, endless killing in Syria and the displacement of so many people in Yemen, really growing extremism throughout the region and indeed throughout the world. And it is against this gloomy background that Oasis of Peace UK continues to support the educational work that takes place at Neve Shalom in Hebrew, Wahat al-Salam in Arabic, and Oasis of Peace in English. A real role model that demonstrates how the minority should be treated in a civilized society. Today we are lucky to have with us two representatives from the village who are living proof of what happens at grassroots level. Carmella and Raida work at the primary school in a village overlooking the Latrun Junction, halfway between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. The project started in the 1970s with no electricity and a few shacks and caravans. Now it's home to 60 Palestinian, Arab and Jewish Israeli families, and more homes are being built as we speak. The primary school is now teaching the third generation of children from the village and from the surrounding local Arab and Jewish towns. And I'm proud to say that many of today's peacemakers were educated at Neve Shalom, Wahat al-Salam.
I grew up very hopelessly. I thought because my political awareness was very strong, and I hated everything around me. Going to university and actually, in fact, being a mother, that was my critical point in my life. My whole political awareness, social awareness, all my awarenesses were made a switch, and I thought, I don't want this, my past to my children. I want them to live a better life. I used to see the Jew as the policeman, as the soldier, as the doctor at university, but never to talk to somebody that I can talk to and being friends with, or allow myself to look him in the eye and have a basic conversation or even give a smile. But I felt something is missing. So I said, when I had my first son, I said, how is he going to live his life? I wanted something different for him. And I felt secured with the workshops of the School for Peace because somehow my anger was spilled there. And nobody hated me for what I said. They hugged me. And I found that there is a place to my narrative. There is a place to my thinkings, to my ideas. And I shared it with other people. Other people show understanding. Their understanding made me calm down. And I began to think differently. And I said, I have to end up here, living in this place, raising my kids in this place. And I was really lucky enough to
be an English teacher.
To accomplish that, to raise my kids in the village. Ever since then, I'm in the school.
I started my third year at the school this year. And before Neve Shalom, I was a head teacher of a school at Bat Yam, which is very close to Tel Aviv. It was a very challenging school with only Jewish kids, but lots of immigrants, from Russian immigrants and Ethiopian immigrants. And it was, I was running that school 5 years. And then friends who knew me told me about Neve Shalom and about the change that is going to be. And they asked me to apply for that job. And And eventually I did that.
Fine.
And,
So coming then to a school where there are Arab children and you being a Jewish teacher and not living at the village, going back to your home, to your Jewish neighborhood, presumably, how did your friends and neighbors react to the fact that you were now working in a school where there were Arab children and Arab teachers?
I think maybe I don't see all the Israeli society, but around me, a lot of people pray for more schools like this, and they really understand that that's the only hope we have, and we can't leave everything for politicians. School is really the heart of the village. It's in the center of the village. It's a very green place, a very beautiful place. When many people who come for the first time, they say, "Wow,
Is that a school?
yeah." It's
Really?
Really, it's so different than other schools in the city that are so.
Grey buildings and with many floors. You can see
And,
it spread on the land, on the ground.
And we have 200 pupils at the school and another 32 at the kindergarten. We have a kindergarten at the same campus with us. So the kindergarten serve the kids from 3 to 6. And the school is from 1st to 6th grade. We grew up very nicely at the last 2 years, in almost 50%, which is really excellent. And we're looking forward to keep on growing every year.
One example of the great differences that my son, my youngest, he when I moved to the village, he was only 1 year, hardly 1 year old, and he didn't talk yet. And he began talking in the village. And I was worried when he became 2 years and he doesn't talk. 2 years and a half, he doesn't talk. I addressed his a babysitter there, and she said, no, you're so wrong. He talks. He says "ode" and he says "auto" and he says another 3 words she said in Hebrew. And I said, what? He says these things, but I thought he's just murmuring something that I don't understand. And I rushed to the head teacher and I said, my son's first words are in Hebrew. I insist to have an Arabic teacher now. And that was Diana, and she brought an Arabic one. And I was aware, so he began talking also. And he was the only Arab child his age in the nursery. All the rest were Jews, so I understand that. So when he was more growing up and talking, using both languages, fluently swimming between both of them, he didn't know that this is Arabic, this is Hebrew. He couldn't even say the word Arabic. He couldn't say that he's an Arab, they are a Jew. He knew them by the name, and that was fascinating for me.
So this is something that we are going to work on this year. We're going to focus on that and find a way how to make the Arabic language more present at the school, because unfortunately what happened is that teachers like Raida or all the Arab teachers are really bilingual, and us the Jewish teachers are not, for the same reasons. We never had to study Arabic. So when the teacher goes into the classroom, let's say Raida, when she teach English, well, hopefully she speaks mostly English in class, but even at the yard or outside, she can use both languages, or 3 of them. But I speak only Hebrew, or mostly Hebrew, so kids actually get sort of 150% Hebrew and only 50% Arab. If it's an Arabic lesson and we have two teachers, they're both Arab teachers. And if it's a Hebrew lesson, both teachers will be Jewish teachers, that Hebrew is their mother tongue. It's because we don't put two teachers in a classroom to translate each other. It's in order to be able to give more specific aid to kids to work with different groups.
Okay. I see. So
and
two Jewish teachers teaching Hebrew.
Yes, and when they speak
Arabic.
Hebrew within themselves, it's sort of a model for the kids. They can hear Hebrew or Arabic from the teachers when they speak together.
It's more like it's to encourage the exposure to the language and the reality of it, to see that it's real. It's not that we are learning it from the book, but people are using it, so it's talked amongst them, between them, to encourage them also to hear it and to try to speak it.
First, we're not a religion school, and not all the parents are keen on us teaching them this subject, but mainly because we wanted to build our own curriculum. So this is why we wrote our own program, which had part of the Bible and the Quran and
they have tastes.
They have
actually.
They get to know it, but not in a separate lesson.
Right, so it fits into everything else that you're doing.
Yeah, we combine it together.
Yeah. Once my father told me when I was young, I need to memorize a piece of poetry. And I just couldn't. I was, I think, in the 4th grade, and I was repeating. I said, I can't do it anymore. He said, because you're doing it the wrong way. You don't just sit and memorize, repeat. You have to sit, analyze it, understand it, and then you would see that you can memorize it easily. So I keep saying that as a teacher, I can't erase all my past as a pupil myself. All the things, as a pupil, we had positive experiences and negative experiences. So all the positive ones, I felt that I have gotten stronger because of them. So I try to do them, also apply them with my kids. And all my negative experiences, I just put away. And I believe in that.
That's great.
Once I had to go into a class and teach religion, and it was called religion. And I had Muslims and Christians in the class. And I am not covered, though I'm a Muslim. I'm not, you can't tell that I am religious, but I think I am religious from inside. And I believe that my religiousness is not to show to people. It's my relationship with my Islam and my God. And this is the way I treat the kids. This is the way I believe I should give my lessons. So just to memorize from the Quran is meaningless if they don't understand it. Mm-hmm. And being Muslims and Christians in the same period, so I thought I would rather take the things in common, the basics. What are Jesus' way of teaching and what is Muhammad's way of teaching, more than the Quran itself, because religion, after all, came to give us social basics, how to respect each other, how to live with each other, because God is one, and all the prophets He sent and all the holy books He sent. So it's okay. This is it's like my family issues that I deal with at home, like she said, in my living room. It's not things in common, but the things in common are more precious, are more important. So we stress these things as teachers.
We actually separate it into 2 different days. We don't make a ceremony at the same day. We have a separate ceremony for Memorial Day, and we have a separate ceremony for the Nakba Day. So we do the whole process together. We work with the kids according to what they are able to understand, whether they are first graders or sixth graders. Of course, it's different. And we are separated only for a ceremony, for like 20 to 30 minutes ceremony. So the Jewish kids go to the Memorial Day ceremony, and the Arab kids go to the Nakba ceremony.
And do they have a chance after that ceremony, after those two ceremonies, to reflect together on
we
what has
join
happened?
together. We join back together after the ceremony, and we work a lot. After that, we work a lot with art. We let kids express themselves during with artwork, where they can paint, they can, they can do something, they can express themselves not only by words.
Mm-hmm. What about the history, telling the history of the land? There are two different narratives. How do you cope with that?
I wanted to add also, it's we use these days in order to actually teach history.
Yeah.
So we're not catering for brainwashing the children. This is not our job. But we cannot also get rid of the realistic fact. There was a fact. And also we are not detached from reality. So each kid comes from a different house, from a different background, and they are all exposed to the media, or at least to their families, and their awareness in different levels, but they have a basic awareness. And we use these days also to give more lessons about learning about our roots, the family background of everybody. We encourage them to share, to talk, to ask their families also, to come prepared, and to know their historical background as individuals, as family, and then as a group, as a nation. So this is, we use the time for focusing on the historical background, on teaching history. Now, when you speak history, there is no lies, and there is no, changing anything. These are facts. So, and we feel strong enough to deal with them and bring the children from the history, from the background, from the past, to now what are we doing. We bring them like to, as teachers, we work more or less like facilitators and not like lecturers, so that they come up with the material according to their everyday life in their hometowns, in the school, and the school time is actually the present of our, lifetime. And from there, we always talk, like Carmella said, we do activities together with our eye looking for the future. What kind of a future we want. We digged into the past, we saw what was our past, now what is our present, but what are we looking forward for the future? And that's why I say the sentence that we are not doing any brainwashing for the kids. They live it, they feel it, they are so exposed, and they come up actually with great results. Me personally, I can say about myself that I have learned a lot from the kids, from their innocence, from their purely thinking, and I think I have changed a lot thanks to them. Seeing their process, seeing how they think, and what do they do with the things, with the material that they have. They are not living in the past like the adults, and that's it. I heard a lot of neo-nonsense from the kids, little sentences like, it's obvious, we can make it, we don't want to live like you adults, we see things different. They even came up with a new country map, a new country symbols, a new national symbols. They joined, they make things together. They are not so separated, even in their minds, like we
They're very naive.
are adults.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that's naiveness
It is.
only.
It's
Yeah.
sort of
It's
a
great.
childhood innocence. They're,
Yes.
they're so they cannot understand why it's not working.
Yes.
Especially because it's so normal for them to be together. So, and I think it's good because they're just children, and we don't have to put any very heavy burden on their shoulders. We don't send any kid back home feeling guilty for
Of course.
what the adults did to each other along the history.
At the beginning, we try to analyze it all the time. Sometimes we feel that it's repeating itself. Like they begin first grade, and they are like tabula rasa. Sometimes you see that the obstacle actually is at the language, but the more they master the language, both of them, both sides, so they more are in interaction with each other. In about the third grade, the sexual knowledge or identity begins. So you can see boys and girls, and then actually in the fifth grade, the national knowledge, the national identity makes them separate for a while until the school trip, and then they put that behind. When they get to the sixth grade, you wouldn't see differences between boys, girls, Arabs, Palestinians, Israeli Jews. Everybody is mixed with everybody, even with the way they are seated. And at the beginning, first time we saw this, we were a bit astonished, like, goodness, why? What are we doing wrong? But then we saw that it's also psychology. And we relaxed as grown-ups, as teachers, and we keep telling each other that it's a process. And in the end, sixth grade, they do understand that this is their last chance to be together. So they look for every opportunity to be together in the classroom, in the homes, in the afternoon activities, visiting each other, going places together, like doing informal activities in the afternoons. And then they are so eager about exchanging emails and Facebook's addresses and everything, so that they can keep in touch. And every year they get together in order to come to the graduation party of the coming sixth grades.
You know, you have kids at home.
The first reaction that I hear from our graduates who come to visit, they come to visit and they are so eager to see the teachers, to see the school physically, even if everybody is in classes. I just see them hanging around in the play yard, in the teacher's room, and outside, just, you know, it's like some kind of meditation. And I say, have you come alone? Because I'm sorry, I have a class now, or everybody is in classes. It's okay, I feel good that I'm here. I'll stay outside, wait till the bell rings and everybody comes out. And he knows that they are younger. And I hear sentences like, oh, I wish we could continue for more classes in this school. This is the best school ever. We love this school. It's the school we are in now. It's so huge. It's so big. We went lost. And you know, they share some experiences of what they have. But from the general talks that we have, they are longing to the school. They have feelings to the school, even to the physical room,
It's
not
a good
only for the
experience for
teacher.
They've had a wonderful experience, but
Yes.
how do they cope with the new experience of often having to be just with Jewish children or just
very
with Arab
good,
children?
I think. They are very confident of themselves. They're always aware that there's another story. They're not so arrogant, being it's me and I know the best. They are very aware of the other side. They know to speak for themselves. I know some of them are really into arguing about everything, which is really good. they're doing excellent because they know how to study, and once they're in high school, it's really easy. When I imagine Neve Shalom as a metaphor, I really think as a burning fire, and as long as the fire goes on, then I can come and, I can come with my candle and I put it in that fire and I take it and light that fire elsewhere, which is excellent. This is what we need to do. I really think, I hope that in terms of Ministry of Education, someone will be, someday soon will be smart enough to understand that this is our only hope.
Lovely. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you.